Okay, so we are going to talk about in this lesson about projects and project management. Naturally, I had given you the definition of these two things earlier, but let us explore more deeply into that. In this session, we'll talk about the project, what is a project, understanding project management, what are the benefits of project management, what is the difference between project and operational work, and programs and portfolios. Project management process groups, there are 5 process groups, we will get introduced to them, and what are the major challenges in project management. These are some of these topics which we will cover in next around 28 or 30 slides. So, naturally, we covered some of it. So, let us find out if you really know something about project management. If you can answer this question, that will tell me that you know something about project management. Fill in the blank. The application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirement is a definition for change management, risk management, project management, or operations management.
Project management.
Project management. Obviously, we are talking about project management, and this is the definition. Well, I would say that let us describe this definition in a little bit more detail. Probably I did that with you in the earlier lesson, but generally speaking, project management, for project management, for application of project management, you need to have specific knowledge in project management. Probably there is a problem that when we become an engineer or we are a professional, we think that we know project management, where we have never probably studied project management as a subject. So I personally feel that project managers in the field usually do not have a knowledge base classically about the project management. Number 2, if at all they have the knowledge, they probably do not have enough skill and experience in managing projects in their past. Okay, if even they do have the skills, they may not understand the various tools and techniques which must be used during the project management. I mean, the correct use, when and how these tools and techniques have to be employed. Only if you can apply this knowledge, these skills, and these tools and techniques to the project activities, as if you can meet the project requirement, probably only then you are able to perform project management. So that was as far as the definition of project management is concerned. Another question, activities within an organization that work together to achieve some prioritized or strategic value might best be considered as a project, a program, a portfolio, or an operation.
It was program, wasn't it? I think.
Program?
Yeah, that's my vote.
Okay. Muddassar, what do you think?
Yeah, I go with program.
Program. Let us justify why do you think it is a program? Where does it mention, which hinted you that it is a program?
Because in organization, when it's come organization and then two different work together, even then in project management, it's come work together. But because it's combined effort and more strategic goal of the whole organization, where the project is simple, one project, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Like in a broader way, yeah, in a broader perspective, that program mean.
Is it by the word strategic value did you conceive that it is a program?
Yes.
I think it's by achieving, you've got one goal, or you're trying to aim to achieve one thing. It's a program. Whereas portfolio, they were not necessarily aligned.
Right. Actually, the answer is portfolio.
Oh, was it? Oh, we didn't do well with that, did we, Mohammed?
So you see, Portfolio is a kind of setup which encompasses all the projects and programs. The projects have different objectives and programs have different objectives. Projects are a set of activities which are done to achieve certain objectives through production of outputs and outcomes. That could be a deliverable, that could be product, service, or result. So basically, what we deliver at the end of a project is the output or the outcome. Whereas program is a larger entity than a project, and it does not focus on the deliverable, but it focuses more on the benefit realization. You see, even in a project, when we designed a project, there must have been some business need and a long-term objective, or you can say a long-term benefit. But it is not the responsibility of the project manager to take on the project until the long-term benefit is realized, because long-term benefit may take a couple of years to realize. But project could be just 6 months or 1 year long. So project delivers this product to the operational people who take it over, runs it, and then enjoy the benefit over a longer period of time. Program, on the other hand, is not interested just in the product, it is more interested in the realization of benefit, and it nurtures the output of its project, because program is a bigger thing and it has got projects inside of program. So those programs deliver the deliverable or output or outcome to the program, and program activities nurture it to the level of benefit, not only any one of the project, but all the projects in the program would ultimately end up creating a number of benefits under the patronage of the program manager and his team. Moreover, all these benefits are unified together to realize a larger benefit of the program, which ultimately aligns with the organizational strategy and gives a big benefit to the organization. That is a project and the program. Now, what is a portfolio? This word prioritization, this hints at that we are talking about a portfolio. You are a portfolio manager, and in your portfolio, there are numerous projects and programs going on. You are orchestrating the resources and the needs of those projects and programs. You are providing them the funding, you are providing them the resources, you are providing them the strategic level guideline, and you are overseeing as if all the projects and programs are going in the interest of the organization. So this is a bigger body than project or a program, and they do have the power to analyze the current usage of resources by ongoing projects and programs, and if it is that decision of the portfolio when he finds that a specific project or program may not be that important as compared to a new opportunity which is rising. Maybe there is a candidate project which is trying to get into the portfolio, and portfolio manager feels that the new project has more potential and it is going to be more useful for the organization, and therefore he could stop the funding of some ongoing initiative as to fund this new project. So this kind of decision is based on some kind of prioritization, looking at what can produce better strategic value, and then making a decision to stop a project, to close a project, to start a new one, to divert the funding from one to the other. These kind of decisions, prioritization, strategic value, this actually points towards the portfolio, not the project, not the program. The salient of a project would be that it would be talking about producing a product, service, or result. The salient of a program would be, it would be talking about doing related projects and ultimately realizing long-term benefit of the program by unifying the benefits of each project. When we talk about portfolio, it talks about prioritization and strategic fit and strategic value, overall view of the whole thing. That is why it is a portfolio. And operations are the normal working of the organization. They have nothing to do with prioritization. They have nothing to do with a product, service, or benefit or something like that. Did it make some sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess when I read that, I thought it was meeting one strategic value, and I thought a portfolio could be meeting multiple requirements. So I went with program. I read that as one, but are you saying that it might be trying to meet multiple?
Multiple. It is all the projects and programs within the organization are managed through the portfolio. Portfolio makes the decision which project is doing well, which project is, better aligned with the organizational strategy, which is underperforming, which is overperforming. He then prioritizes them and ultimately make the strategic level decision. So this is the big boss.
Yeah. So in that description, it could be multiple strategic values.
It could be multiple. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I read it as one and then thought, well, that's all trying to achieve one thing. So it's a program.
Yes. Actually, this means the overall strategic value of the organization.
Of the organization.
What does this portfolio add to the overall strategic value?
Yeah.
Anyways, here is another one. Establishing the scope of a project, refining the objectives, and defining the course of action required to attain those objectives fall under which project management process group. So we have 5 project management process groups: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing. What do you think? The establishment of scope, refining of objective, and defining of course of action, where do they fall?
I feel like it's 1 and 2. I feel like it's establishing the scope and refining the objectives is
planning.
But I think the next bit is planning.
Planning. Very nice. This is very correct. It happens in planning, because what do we do in these 5 process groups? Initiation is when the project has been chartered, project manager has been assigned, and now he is trying to understand what this project is to do. The project manager is assigned, and they start looking towards the various stakeholders as to understand the big picture. Then they
what is initiating then? Because
initiating means
what's left could be initiating.
Let me tell you, before initiation, there must have some business need must exist for this kind of initiative that we are taking, right? So there was a business need, and the business analyst in the organization that was assigned to create a feasibility to justify that business need. He created a business case which was forwarded to the higher management, and if they agree with the business case, they will allow it, they will approve it, and if the business case has been approved, that is the point when the initiation starts. That is the point when the initiation of a project starts. What do we do in initiation? First of all, a senior executive person who is called a project sponsor that is assigned to the project. This person have a look at the business case and develops a charter, a statement to the project manager that this is the project, I am giving it to you. You are going to be responsible for day-to-day working of this job. So I authorize you to start mobilizing resources for this project and start planning it. right? So initiation is just that much. But the first thing this project manager does is try to understand the major items. He goes through the business case which was created. He goes through all the details which so far has been developed, and he starts communicating with various possible stakeholders of this project as to understand it even better. That is all what we do in initiation. If you ask me, project manager after his assignment just communicates with the stakeholders, identifies them, and tries to understand the project. That's it. That is the initiation. Once the initiation has been done, we get into the planning. Yes, please.
Sorry. So it's mean that when everything is like done, like planning done, all the budget cost, everything approved. So, and then it's when the project manager role starts from there, that everything completed, business case approval, everything done, right?
Not at all. Not at all. You are completely wrong. Business case is not a plan. Business case is a kind of a feasibility. A person thinks and he proves that, yes, I think this can be done and it can be useful to the organization. This is not an authorized plan. Based on this feasibility, the higher management has approved this project, but this project does not have any plan as yet. All the planning, the detailed planning about each and everything of the project will be created by the project manager during the planning. Although I agree with you to that extent that the business case will be instrumental, it could be a good input for developing your plan because that actually includes the justification. But project manager is the right person. Project manager and his team will together develop a comprehensive and detailed project management plan, get it approved by the management, and then they will get into execution. So that the only thing which has been approved in initiation was the charter and nothing else.
Okay. And
planning is yet to be done.
Sorry. The business case is before initiating.
Business case was done before initiation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sponsor was nominated.
Sorry, you mentioned,
he created a charter. He nominated a project manager. He gave this charter to the project manager. Project manager looked around, understood the business case and all requirements, looked around for stakeholders, tried to identify them and develop a little bit of understanding of what he is getting into. That is initiation. That's all.
Yeah.
We have not done any planning as yet.
Yeah. You identify the stakeholders, but you're obviously not approaching them yet because you haven't even done the planning yet.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once we will do planning, it will be a very comprehensive planning. There are 10 knowledge areas. Each one of those knowledge areas under the project management plan will be planned in quite a bit of detail, and then they will be approved by the bosses. And once we have the baselines approved, schedule, cost baseline, and all other things, scope, etc., only then we will be allowed to go into execution. So, Muddassar, your point was the things you said, they are not approved, pre-approved before planning. They will be approved at the end of the planning, before we get into execution.
Makes sense?
Good. Muddassar, is it okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so how did we do? Did we understand some of the concept? Although I did not teach you anything, I just asked you a couple of questions. But I hope you are somehow on the right path, isn't it?
Mm. Yep, that helped.
Yeah.
Again, we did talk about what is our project, but let us see. This is generally considered to be a definition of our project. What is our project? Let me read it out to you and then we will discuss it. Project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. First of all, focus on the words temporary endeavor. What do you think what it is? What is our temporary endeavor? And why are we talking about our temporary endeavor?
Because it has a beginning and an end, because you're going
Yes.
to achieve something.
Okay. It has a beginning and an end. It has some objective to achieve, right? And whatever we are supposed to do in this project, we probably have never done it before. That is the most interesting point. Otherwise, if I have done it before, it won't be an endeavor.
Yeah.
When do you endeavor?
Like best
When
of
there is a
luck in your
challenge.
future endeavor.
Yes, please.
Like we normally always say, best of luck for your future endeavor, like
Exactly,
in future and new thing, new challenge.
because future is unknown. You have never
New
seen the
challenge.
future. So
Yep.
wherever there is a challenging assignment, we call it an endeavor. We don't know whether we'll succeed or not, but we are determined to take on that challenge. So endeavor means we are getting into a challenging situation. And as Amy said, that this challenge we are undertaking is time bound. We are not going to face it forever. We will try it out, and either we will succeed or we will fail. So whatever we achieve or we do not achieve, it is temporary in nature. The initiative will start at some point in time and will definitely have to finish at some point in time. Therefore, you are right in saying there is a beginning to a project and there is a ending to a project. But if by beginning and ending you mean that there is a specific date in mind, that this is the date the project will start and this is the date the project will end, I tend to disagree with you. Because we are getting into an uncertainty, we don't know what is the result. How can you say that this project will start on this date and will definitely finish on this date? It is enough to say that this initiative will finish someday, will start someday, and will definitely finish someday. The only thing I want to say is that this is not a continuous effort. This is not going to be going on and on forever. If there is a project, if there is a challenge, that will be taken and we will get some results, positive or negative. Another thing is, when we take on a project, we may not be sure about the results, but we endeavor, we put in effort to succeed in the first try. But there are always likelihood that we may not be able to accomplish it. Not that we did not put in all the effort, but because it was an impossible target to achieve. Right? So what do? We may try it over again, or maybe we drop it if it is no more aligned with the organizational interest. If you think that after the first failure, organization is not able to fund it any further, we do not have time to experiment with it anymore, then this project may be abnormally terminated, right? Otherwise, we could continue and we could achieve our results. Now, let us talk about what is the output of a project. Output of a project, the result of a project is like our deliverable, we call it. That deliverable could be in shape of a tangible product or in shape of a intangible service. Like I am training you. For example, conducting this course is my project, right? You are different students every time. So teaching you could be a challenge for me, right? And at the end of the day, it is my responsibility to convey all the material to you. So basically, I am conveying, I am talking to you. I am not giving you a book or something. I'm not giving you any product. I'm not creating any product for you. I am providing you a service, right? And when this course will complete and I have communicated all the material to you and you have understood it, I have done my service. Project is successful.
But
Or,
doesn't,
yes, please.
sorry, it doesn't, when you were mentioning that a project doesn't have an end date, this training has an end date. And in my work, I work in major events.
Yes.
So we always know what date, if it's the
Yeah,
Olympics
of course.
or Commonwealth Games.
But I was talking from the pretext of arbitrariness of the project. There will be a start date, but you always do not know it in the beginning. For example, when the idea of the project came to the mind of someone, did they know when exactly will it start and when exactly it will finish? No, we did not know that. This is after the planning, we have finally come up with a date that this is the date we will be prepared to start this initiative. And according to our plan, we should be able to complete it by this date. This is result of your planning. This is not given to you already. You are given just an assignment and maybe some limitation that you should be able to do it in next 6 months, or you should be able to do it in this much budget. These could be the limitations, constraints, but they are not restrictions. I mean, they are not specific dates. You are the one, as a project manager, who will determine the start date and the finish date of the project based on your planning skills.
So it can't be, I guess I'm trying to translate this to my own work.
Right.
And it's an external deadline I'm trying to meet. So there might be an international governing body for a sport, for example.
Of course.
So imagine the Olympics. It always has to happen. The
Right.
governing body will set when the Olympics has to happen, but your local organizing committee needs to deliver that. So they're meeting someone else's deadline. And I'm trying to understand how that fits in this.
Deadline you are telling me is a requirement. It has been given by another body to you, right?
Yeah.
When they are giving a deadline, they are never going to give you a very tight deadline which is impossible to achieve. They will give you a deadline which is possible to do, right? But the exact date to start and finish will be determined by you. For example, you are to construct a house, right? And you are told that it should be complete within a year time. Now, this year is not the complementary duration which construction of a house should take. It must have some flexibility in it. But this does restrict us that we should not extend our planning much beyond 1 year. It should be within 1 year. Actually, the construction work will take around 6 or 7 months. So that is a sufficient time. So I will exactly tell on which date I will start the project and on which date I'll finish it. But I will respect the constraint given to me. For example, you are saying about the Olympics. So there is a specific date as a limitation has been given to you that this is the Olympics which have to be conducted and you have to do everything before that. Right? Now the quantum of work can be comfortably done in that period, or you could add resources or do whatever you feel like. That is your challenge. How are you going to complete all the preparations before the specific date given to you, before the deadline given to you? This is going to be your plan. And exact dates will only be, absolutely known and agreed when you plan it. That deadline is not an absolute date. That is more than absolute date. That is just a constraint.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Because
treat that as a constraint and not a limitation.
yeah, mine always has a deadline set by
Exactly.
often an external, and it's a specific date.
Exactly.
And you have to be ready for that date. So,
Moreover, you must understand when we are entering in the world of project management, there is a lot of uncertainty. Many things can go wrong, right? And that we will cover in risk management. So, although you planned something that it will be done in 1 year, but when you start doing it, there is everything turning wrong. What will happen? You may have to revise your plan. You may have to request your bosses or the people who have given you the deadline that according to the current ongoing situation, we don't think that we can meet the deadline you have given us. So give us an alternative. Either give us extra funding as if we can, compress the schedule and do things earlier, or give us extra time, right? So changes to a approved project can always be made through a proper channel. So there is no hard and fast rule that any limitation which has been conveyed to you, any deadline which was conveyed to you, that is unchangeable. Everything is changeable with negotiation and communication. So far, so good?
yes.
So we have somehow understood what our project is. Now, let us break down this definition, which I have already done it. Endeavor, as I said, endeavor is an attempt to do something. Endeavor, something that delivers value as a product, service, or change. So whatever we will do, we'll put in an effort to do something, to produce certain results, right? That is exactly what, to produce certain deliverable. So that is an endeavor, but we are never certain about our endeavor because endeavor, we are entering into it for the very first time. That temporary nature means that the undertaking has a beginning and an end. Just remember, it did not say a specific day to start, date to start, and specific date to end. But the only thing we know about a project is that it will start sometime, someday, and it will have to end someday. If you don't start, you can't end it. And if you have started, you have to end it at some point. So forget about the specific dates, but embed it into your mind that a project must start at some point in time and must finish at some point in time. Later, when you plan, you may allocate exact dates to that, but do not relate it with the constraints given to you. They are not your date to start or finish, but
I
they
have one
may
question.
affect that.
I have one question.
Yes, sure.
Like when we saying project and then we know that start date, end date, it create value, it product or change a service. What about the failure? If the failure is also a project, we can also call
No,
project.
failure is not a project. Failure is a challenge. In your
Like
project, you will face a lot many failures. Why? Because
no,
of
but
the
if you fail,
uncertainty. Yes,
if you complete fail, like if you start
complete fail.
everything,
Complete fail means that you cannot correct it. If you cannot correct it, the project will have to be abandoned. It
it
has to
still
be
is
closed
project,
down.
yes? Yeah, it still is project, right? Or
Yeah,
only
of course.
successful as a project.
It can be abnormally terminated before completing all its objectives, because maybe it is the funding we have allocated to the project is not sufficient and the organization cannot fund it any further. That could also be one of the reasons why a project cannot continue. So that is a specific class of abnormal termination. Otherwise, we never dream of that. We always try to accomplish the objectives of the project as to successfully complete it. But if it cannot be successfully completed, it could be abnormally terminated as well. There is a mechanism for that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and one thing which we already mentioned, that because in the definition of endeavor, I told you that this, we're not sure we could do it or not. We have never done it before. For example, you are constructing this bridge and it is the first time you are doing it. You have never constructed this kind of bridge before. So this is a unique endeavor for you, and it did not exist previously, and you did not have this kind of specific experience. So this is therefore a challenge. And about the project management, we have already seen the definition. This is the same definition: application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirement. I think we don't have to talk more about it. Anyways, if you do, then these are the salients. That is, then this is the definition, and then guiding the project work to deliver the intended outcome. Once you have understood what the project management does, then as a leader, as the project manager, you will guide the work to deliver the intended outcome, meaning you are the leader to bring it to the right conclusion, as if the outputs and outcomes are delivered at the end of the project. Then there are broad range of approaches, and you as a leader and your team will decide which options to choose. Again, this is interesting to note that you will be offered with a lot many options and you have to choose the best every time. This is the level of skill and coordination a project manager and his team should have. The same job can be done clumsily and can be done with an optimized manner. So what we need to do, we don't want to do things clumsily. We want to do them in the most effective and efficient manner. So use your choices, use your approaches, like, very judiciously and intelligently, right? That will lead you to the success. You see, you understand the difference between being effective and being efficient. You are effective when the job given to you, you have done it. You have effectively done it. All the parameters of that job have been completed and job is complete. So you have been very effective. But what is efficient? That you were given a job, you did it, but you did it by saving a lot of time, money, and resources. Means you did not consume all the funds, all the resources, but you did economize. If you can economize in any way, you are being efficient. I hope you knew that already.
Yes.
Wonderful. So that is exactly what we are saying in the third point: broad range of options. This is where we can bring, by making right decisions, we can bring in efficiency. If you don't take the right decision, probably you will be effective, you will be able to complete the objectives of the project, but not efficient. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, what are the benefits of project management? Well, things were being done in operations as a routine. What was the need to have this project? Why are we doing this project? If everything is, doing fine, why should an organization run projects?
Usually
The
it's
main,
a problem
yes,
or a need. A problem or a need, maybe.
okay, yes. In your organization, in your normal working, you might have problems and you have to solve them. You might have opportunities which you must exploit. There are changing environments. Maybe when the organization was found, it was designed on a cutting edge technology, but over the years, those technologies have gone old. New ways of working are in the market. New competition is there in the market. So we cannot keep following the same standard operating procedure forever. because that is getting obsolete day after day. So if your organization has to survive and sustain, you will have to remain updated with the technology and your surroundings and your timelines. That means you have to change. You have to continuously improve. And the only possible mechanism to invent new ways of doing things, which you normally do in your operations, is to do project management. Project management is causes the change. It is an agent of change. It invents new ways of doing things and thus improve the capability and capacity of your organization. That is one of the biggest benefits of the project management, that it brings change in the organization. It is a source of bringing the change. Rather, I will not be wrong if I say that nothing in organization can change until you conduct projects. Without projects, there could not be any change at all. Because in operations, we are supposed to follow the standard operating procedures, which cannot be changed. You don't change your SOPs, but you may find over the time, you may find that certain SOPs are not really very efficient. So we may need to work on them. And to work on them is a project, right? And when you do this project and you improve that process, that is a result of a project. In future, your SOPs will be revised in light of the results of the project which brought this change. Meaning that SOPs can be affected and can even be changed as a result of a project, thus causing improvement to the way of working of the organization. And ultimately, a cycle of continuous improvement can go on forever. You can be on the cutting edge always. Projects can do it for you. That is the importance of projects. So improving the chance of project success and delivering the expected benefits for the project, that's what we are doing here. While you do that, naturally you are not doing in isolation. This project you are doing, there are a lot many people who have stakes in it, who have interest in it. Some people can affect your decisions. Some people can be affected by your decisions in project management. All of these people who could in any way affect the consequence of the project, or they can be affected by the product of the project, they are all your stakeholders. Even the team members working on it are stakeholders. Project manager is stakeholder. Project sponsor is a stakeholder. Customer is stakeholder. Your own organization and various departments of the organization are your stakeholders. Your country, your government, and a lot many other general public, many community groups, they all could be your stakeholders. But you have to carefully identify the relevant stakeholders for your specific project. And why I did talk so much about stakeholders, because this is my prime responsibility as a project manager to keep them satisfied. I have to put in a lot of effort during my project to keep them on board, keep them engaged, and keep them satisfied. And to do that, I have to understand what they want. I have to talk to them, understand their requirements, and only then I can put in effort to make them satisfied. Then we have the objective of completing project. Now, as you said, specific date and specific money. During the planning, we decide how much time exactly this project should be taking, when should we start, when should we finish, how much money is required for that, what level of quality would be required. All of these things are going to be determined during the planning. Before the planning, there was just an idea. There might have been some constraint on you that whatever you do, don't exceed this project for more than 1 year, right? But naturally, I will actually do actual calculations and I will tell you that if it can be done within a year or not. It is very much possible that constraint put on us is is not logical, is not practical, and after our calculations, we get back to the people who have given that constraint and prove to them that it cannot be done in 1 year. We need more time, right? So constraint can be changed. As I said, even contracts can be changed through negotiations. So constraint is nothing coming from the God Almighty. Constraint is built by the people, and people may be wrong. But generally, they are intelligent enough not to put a unreasonable constraint on you. But anyways, so this is established that we decide, the project manager and his team, they decide exactly how much time, how much money, and what quality are we going to achieve. I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Using company talent and resources optimally. Naturally, we are doing within an organization, and it would be preferable if we could make use of our existing resources, manpower, equipment, and everything. But sometimes it becomes impossible because we don't hold that much talent or that many people to run the projects as well as operations. So in that case, we may hire people, we may outsource certain portions of work, or we may acquire resources from the market. So we may get into subcontracting with a lot many vendors, suppliers, and contractors. But anyways, my first priority would be if everything of the project can be done within the existing resources of the organization, we will try to do it. But in case we need, we will have to acquire those resources from outside. Understood?
Yes.
Next is enabling customer focus and reducing quality focus. Now, this is important that not only ourselves as a project team must be focused on the project objective and the strategic objective for that matter, because if we fulfill our project objective, we are actually serving the organizational strategy, right? There is an alignment of what I am doing in the project with the organizational strategy. If it was not, then this project was not to be done. Anything which is not in interest of the organization should not be done. So my project must be in alignment with some organizational strategy. So the number one focus is that my project, is it aligned with the organizational strategy? We keep our focus towards that. Moreover, as I said, we talk to all the stakeholders and try to understand what their satisfaction means and try to increase and fulfill their satisfaction as much as possible. So customer is also one of our stakeholders. So basically, we are going to keep reminding our customer to maintain the focus on what we are supposed to be doing, not adding requirements unnecessarily. And we must introduce the concept of focus on quality. Stakeholder or the customer may not be educated enough to explain and give out the exact, extents of quality they want. We have to educate them and we have to tell them what is quality and what quality do they need or require. We have to guide them, and then whatever the quality focus is established, we commit to achieve that.
Who is the customer?
Yes,
who
please.
is the customer?
Say
Who
again?
is the customer there? You mentioned enabling customer focus. Who is the customer? Can you give an example?
Well, actually, that will go a little further than that, but let's do that.
I can wait till later.
No problem at all. You see, for example, I just gave you a hint that whatever we are doing in the organization must be in alignment with the interest of the organization. Anything which is not in interest of the organization should not be done. Second, I said we have to talk to all the stakeholders, and all the stakeholders are not looking at the interest of organization. They might be coming from different organizations. They might be just interested in this project. So anyone interested in this project, what do they want? I will analyze their requirements. I will include their requirement, and I will also ensure that if I add their requirement to the project, do I not lose the focus on the project objectives? I must ensure that I must never lose my focus on the organizational strategies and vision of the organization. If I'm remaining within the organizational gambit, then probably whatever the stakeholder wants, and if it is within the scope, I will keep them focused that, okay, you told me to build a house of 5 rooms. Please don't go outside the bounds. Don't now tell me to to develop a playground also. That is not the scope of my project. Keep the customer focused on the basic terms of the project, which are already aligned with our organization strategy. And we must align the customer focus to our organization strategy as well. We should not go out of the scope. Unreasonable demands of the stakeholders or the customers must be debated and discussed, and they must be satisfied. Similarly, about quality, I said most of the customers do not really know and understand how to define quality. They give you the requirement, but they can't explain the quality. So we will educate them on quality and then keep them focused on that. If you want an example for that, let me give you a very simple example. For example,
I understand the process. I just don't know the term customer. Are you using the term customer? Are you meaning a stakeholder of the project is a customer?
Actually, yes, customer is definitely a stakeholder, but customer is a major stakeholder because this is the guy who gave us the contract to do what we are doing.
Oh, okay, cool. That's the bit I didn't understand. Because I work for council, so our customers are our ratepayers, but often my project would come from further above in the hierarchy. So it's just it's not I wouldn't have called it a customer. So I was trying to understand the use of that word.
Right. This is
both internal and external customer
party with whom we have the contract, who assigned us this job.
There could be also internal customers as well within
there could be internal customers, definitely. You are very right. Then is the aspect of the risk. There is always some uncertainty in your project. Projects are built on uncertainty. We don't know what will happen to us. Operations, we are much safer because we have SOPs and we know what generally can go wrong and what generally can go right. But in project, we are in an uncharted territory. So everything can go wrong. So reducing and identifying the risk and then reducing the risk of unexpected events as if the project does not fail. There was a question, you said, Muddassar, that what if the project fails? That is due to the risk which we probably did not anticipate or we did not, resolve. Therefore, we had to face the failure and we have to close down the project abnormally. So naturally, this is due to the uncertainty. Therefore, we must pay due attention to the subject of risk management in project. Okay. I think we have been here for around an hour. We deserve a little break. isn't it?
Sounds good.
Fine. So we can have a break of around 10 minutes and then we will be back again. So timer is on and it starts now.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Most welcome. Okay, break time is over. Welcome back. Muddassar, you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, the next topic here is the difference between projects and operations. I hope you understand that very well. So why don't you give your opinion here?
I can go. In my mind, operational work is more business as usual work that's sort of standard, isn't out of, you know what you're doing, and it's
Okay.
not something new.
So operational work is kind of standard, and you are doing it in repetitively in the same manner, and
Yeah.
you are producing. You are doing repetitive work. You're not creating something new in operations, but in projects, it is always something new you're producing for which you don't have procedures. You invent the procedures, you design the plan, and then you create that thing. In operations, don't create new things. You just reproduce older things, old mechanisms. Anything from you, Muddassar?
No, sir.
Okay, good, good. Okay, let's see what do we have. What is an operation? Operation is an ongoing execution of activities. Now you see, we have activities in project, we have activities in execution, but execution activities are repetitive in nature. They are ongoing execution of activities that follow an organization's procedures to produce the same result are a repetitive service. Operations are a permanent in nature. Now you see, when it says organization's procedures, it is referring to standard operating procedures, which are like a law. You can't do anything outside of the standard operating procedure. There is a mechanism written down in some book somewhere that if you have to do this job, these are the steps, this is how you do it. You are not allowed to change that SOP. You are supposed to follow that SOP if you are an employee. You can't invent a new way of doing things. When it comes to inventing new ways of doing things, that is through projects, not through operations. Operation is just a repetitive service, whereas projects are innovative service. They are creators. They create new ways of doing things. Consider a bakery. Baking bread is an ongoing repetitive process that occurs day after day with no distinct beginning or end. Daily you come to your bakery, you start baking, you start selling. That makes it an operational work, isn't it?
Yes.
You're not doing anything new. You do what you do daily. So, what would the bakery consider? What would the bakery consider a project? How would you say that no, in bakery we have some projects also? Can you name a project in your bakery?
Developing
a project?
developing a new product. So
Very
a
good.
new type of bread or a new pie or something like that.
Exactly, exactly. So thing which has never been done before, you don't produce that product in your bakery, but you are adopting a new thing. So that initiative would be a project. And once that project has proven that this is how to bake this new bread or new cake or whatever, the pie or whatever, then we will adopt that procedure in our operations and make it part of our operations. And then we will start repetitively producing that product as well. So what has been done? Project brought some change in our bakery operations. A new product has been added just because we did a project. You got that?
Yes.
Okay, project operations and project-based operations. Let us talk about this. What are projects? They, as you said, they have a beginning and an end, right? Operations, they don't have a beginning and an end. They are just going on and on forever. What are project-based operations? These are a specific beginning and end for each product or service and repetitive cycle, meaning that within your operation, you have some timelines to meet. So you are conducting your operations in a projectized manner in small portions of challenges. You keep inducting the knowledge of project management in your daily operations, and you have like, when we are baking a cake, 5 minutes for this thing, 10 minutes for this thing. So you are trying to put some time limit to everything, thus making your operations even more efficient. I hope you got that.
Yes.
As far as outcome is concerned, project has a unique product or service which kind of has never been done before, whereas the operations has a familiar product or service which is being reproduced all the time. In project-based operations, we have that familiar product or service with a unique set of features. We are customizing it. We are, experimenting with our product a bit, not producing a new product altogether. Maybe you increase the amount of salt in the bread and experiment with it and start seeing how the customers respond to that. This is a project-based operation. About people and resources, projects are temporary when they are done. The resources and the people who have been hired to do them, they are let go. Whereas operations are permanent, where those same teams keep working for ages on the same department until they are retiring or they leave. So that is a kind of a continuous job and is a permanent job. Project-based operations, these are some temporary work and which is conducted by a temporary resource. For example, you have hired a help for certain days to maybe in your bakery, and that is to bring some kind of learn new technique or something like that. So that would be a project-based operation where it is not a routine that you have this person. Maybe a baker has been hired for 2 days to teach us various other ways of cooking. This is a temporary assignment, but this is part of the operation. Authority, project manager has all the authority in the project. Naturally, it may range from a weak authority to a very strong authority. Naturally, we would prefer a strong authority with a project manager, but naturally you have to tweak it in the organization, because if your organization is not very comfortable with the concept of project management, you will give a very weak authority to the project manager. But classically speaking, we would love project manager to have his autonomy and his authority. He should be strong. On the other hand, in operations, the functional manager is in charge, right? So they have the formal and direct authority over the people and processes, and therefore they have absolute power exercised in the functioning of the bakery. In a project-based operations, because we are doing little initiatives within the operations, so maybe those initiatives are handled by the project manager under the main command of the functional manager. So you may have both the roles in here. The project-related work may be the responsibility of the project manager, and functional manager could be managing the resources and could even be the overall responsible person. Primary life cycle in projects is a project life cycle, whereas operations follow a product life cycle. And if we are doing project-based operations, This is TOS execution based on customization, like, changing a little bit here and changing a little bit there, slight tweakings in the normal working, thus making some better results to be produced. So this is the concept of project-based operations, which probably might be a little new to you, but this is happening all the time. We do have very innovative activities going on in operations, and they are actually project-based operations. They are not classically project, but they are kind of better than operations by bringing changes into your way of working, a normal way of working. Okay, moving on. There is a close relationship between operations and projects. Can you think what is common between operations and projects?
It's also work going on in operation. In project, also work going on. One, it's common, but
So work is
not
common,
routine.
right?
But not routine. Routine matter is not common because
Exactly.
project is always
So
challenging. It's
work is
time bomb.
common. There are activities here, there are activities there. What else? Amy?
I'm just trying to
Both need
think through that one.
resources.
Yes.
Project also needs resources and operation also needs resources. What else? Time is uncommon. Project is limited by time. Operations are not limited by time. So that is time is not common. What else?
Stakeholders, also operation as stakeholders,
Yes, of
organization.
course. There are stakeholders for the project. There are stakeholders for the operation. Very good. Very good. So we understand what is common between operations and project. But the most important thing is, do we understand the differences? Basically, in the previous slide, when we discussed all that, we actually highlighted the differences between projects and operations. And if you understand that, and now you understand the commonalities, probably you can clearly differentiate between projects and operations. Installing an oven is a DIY project, do-it-yourself project, right? So probably this is a operations-based project, right? Where you have bought a new oven and you are installing it yourself. So there is no outside help. You are doing it yourself. So it is project-based operations. That kind of thing. Using an oven to cook meals is operation. You see, within your system, you have installing the oven is a project and using oven to cook the meals is operations, right? So anyways, this is just the difference, but we have talked about the commonalities also. Now, just for your knowledge, we need to understand what is a program. Although in the beginning of the class, I did mention what is a program and what is a portfolio. I did give a little outline on that. So remember that and tell me, what is a program?
Do you want to go, Mohammed, or shall I?
You can have it.
A program would be a series of projects
Is
that
it
are
necessary
related.
to have series of projects?
That are related.
They are related, yes, but
Yeah.
series, I am not really comfortable with the series
Or
word.
maybe series is the wrong. I don't mean that they follow each other. I just mean that in multiple projects that sit under that are related because they're trying to achieve
Yes.
the same outcome.
The most important word is they should be related. If the projects have no relationship, then they cannot be part of a program. They must be related. Unrelated projects cannot be a program.
Yeah.
I hope you understand that point.
Yes.
You see, for example, let me give you an example about an unrelated project. You say these are all the IT projects. let us put them in a program. What do you think? All the IT projects are grouped into a program. Is it right or wrong?
I would have thought that would be a portfolio because it would be trying to meet
That's wrong.
a strategic.
Yeah,
A
very nice,
strategic.
very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, grouping of a thing, like they are connected through the same discipline, or they're connected from due to the same region or same country, that does not make them related. That
Yeah.
does make them a category, and categories are addressed in portfolios, not in programs. All the activity, all the projects within a program must have some kind of relationship, some kind of interaction. They should have a common objective with the project, with the program. Program objectives, all the projects within the program, their projects should be aligned with the objectives of the program. All the benefits which are going to come out of the project, they must be consolidated and unified into the overall program benefit. So there is a very deliberate relationship amongst the projects of a program and with those projects with the program. They are all very closely related. If there is no relationship amongst these projects, then probably this candidate project cannot enter a program, because that has absolutely nothing to do with the program. There is no alignment. So the definition is related project. The first and most important thing, related projects, right? All the projects within the program must be related. That is a key. Now, what else could be included in a program? If the program is very complex, and I agree with you that there are 10 projects which are in the program, that is also a program. But what if the program is very complex and program manager thinks to subdivide the program into certain sub-programs? And then those sub-programs may have the project. So this is a possibility. This is not necessary, but it is very much possible that a huge mega program may have sub-programs in it. So sub-programs will also be treated as components of the program. Projects, independent projects, which are not part of the sub-program, they will also be considered as the component of the program. And there is a third component, which is called the program activities. There are three types of components included in a program. One, the related projects. Two, the sub-programs. And three, the program activities. Now you would be surprised what this program activity is and what do they do.
But can you hold a bit? Someone is outside.
So what do you think, Amy? What does these program activities should be doing?
Suhail, brother, can you hold a bit?
Yes, we'll wait, Mohammed. I think someone's at his door.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have a mega program.
Mm-hmm.
So it might have sub-programs and then projects within those sub-programs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
These are the components. But one of the components is the program activities. What are those program activities? What do they do?
I'm not sure, but I guess is it's actually potentially overseeing all of the sub-programs and programs, coordinating it.
Coordinating, yes, very right. But you see, the components of a program, a project is a component of a program. How to manage a project is the job of the project manager. He has his own team, he has his own objectives, and he is doing that job. Similarly, another component is a sub-program. Sub-program is in charge, sub-program manager is in charge of his sub-program. He is having his own team and they are doing their job.
I'm back. I'm
Wonderful.
back, boss.
Hey there.
Now, as far as the projects and sub-programs are concerned, they have dedicated staff available. But as far as the main program manager is concerned, everybody, when they have done their job, they will submit that job to the program manager. I mean, the product of the project will come to the program manager. What will he do with it? Program manager has to deliver benefits, not the project. So that means the responsibility of converting those deliverables into the project benefits and then unifying those benefits into the overall benefit of the program is the responsibility of the program manager. Where is his team? Who are the people who is going to do this enormous work? That enormous work is handled by program activities. This is the personal staff of the program manager, and trust me, they are doing more work than all the projects and sub-programs combined in that project. Why? Because they have a lot to do. A lot to do. Coordination activities, converting the product into the specific deliverables, coordinating with the sub-programs, and then, a lot many things are there. A lot many things are there. Let me give you an example. A project is 6
Suhail,
months
brother,
long, but it will say it will
I have
deliver.
one question.
Yeah, please.
Sorry to, like, if we are when I got about the program, but is there any related example, like the related project example? I think might be I missed it.
Of course,
Like
of
these.
course. Let me take you from a project onward, an independent project, not part of a program. There is a project for the construction of a school. Project is construct a school. You are a project manager. What will you deliver?
A school.
A school.
A
A
school.
fully functional school.
Yeah.
And you will hand over this school to some department who will then be responsible for operating this school, for running this school.
Yeah.
What was the purpose behind constructing the school? Why did we construct this school?
The benefit of the people's studies for the kids. Children.
Right. There must be a benefit at the end of it, right? That benefit must have been well defined.
Yeah.
You have to specify that we are constructing the school because there is no school in the region, in the adjacent 50-kilometer area, and we are constructing this school as if this 50-kilometer radius people could study and graduate from here, and our target is that in the next 5 years, at least 5,000 graduates should come out of this school. That is the benefit realization. If 5,000 students get graduated from this school in next 5 years, that would be the benefit. But project manager is just concerned about delivering the school. Who is responsible for realizing the benefit? Remember, the benefit was conceived in the business case. The business analyst thought about it and he wrote in the business case what the benefit will be. Project manager designed the school keeping in mind that benefit. But project manager is only responsible for delivering that deliverable to the next department, maybe the education department, but they are not responsible for long-term benefit realization. Project manager is not responsible for getting 5,000 students graduated in 5 years. Who is responsible for that?
government or the operator who run the operation or government
Who,
or the body.
who has the charge of that? Who are running that school? So the
Principal.
benefit management will become their responsibility. What I was trying to mention here was the project duration was just 6 months. And the benefit duration is after those 6 months, another 5 years. After that, you would know that the benefits could be realized or not. Now, just come back to the program. Your program has many projects. Maybe there are 10 projects. Some of them are running in parallel. Some of them are running one after the other. So if every project is approximately 6 months, what do you think the duration of the program would be like?
Constantly changing.
Well, what do you guess? How much
5 years.
minimum it should be?
5
Minimum
years.
5 years?
Project. Yeah.
Right, I agree. But remember, it is not only the matter of these projects delivering their deliverable. Have you counted the time of benefit realization also? You did not. You know, maybe every project delivers in 6 months or 7 months or 8 months, but then the benefit realization is also the responsibility of program manager. So that will take, for each project's benefit realization will take a long time after the project. Count that and now tell me, is it going to be 5 years?
Much longer.
Much longer. Maybe like
10 years.
12 years?
10 years, 12 years, yeah.
10 years, 12 years, right. Fine. That means that is it. But that is not the end of the story. All these benefits will be realized, but at the same time, they have to be unified into the overall benefit of the program, which is the synergy, which is due to the projects being in a program. If the projects were not in a program, they would have yielded the same benefits otherwise also. But just because they are now part of a program, now the overall benefit would be the combination of all the benefits, and that would not be just 10 benefits coming out. That could be a synergetic impact, and that could be maybe not 10 benefits, but the cumulative effect of the benefit of the program could be like 100. I hope you understand my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the benefit of tying related projects in a program, and I can easily say such a program might go on for 15 to 20 years. So this is a long train with a lot of momentum, right? This is not just like a project. 6-month project is a game. 15 to 20 years program is a serious business. I hope you got the sense how a program looks like, how big it is, how many projects could be there, why should we have sub-programs in a program, because program manager may not handle such a big quantum of work, and this has to be deputed to sub-programs as if they can look after separate portions of the work, right? That is why we need so precise mechanism. Well, I don't want to talk more about program. There is a lot to talk about program, but I don't want to. I just wanted to introduce you to the concept of program. And I hope I have given you that.
Can I ask a question? Sorry.
Sure.
What's the relationship between the program manager and the project sponsor when it's in a program?
Project sponsor. Okay. If it was an isolated project, there was a project sponsor who issues the charter to the program project manager, right?
Yeah, I understand that. But when it's a program, how does it work?
Project sponsor is the boss. But if the project is part of a program, who is the boss?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah.
Program manager is the boss.
Okay.
Program manager will be the sponsor for all the programs which
Oh,
exist
okay.
within the program.
Okay. Yeah.
He will create the charter for every project. He will issue that charter. He will act as a project sponsor for all of these projects.
Ah, awesome. Okay. Yep, that makes sense.
Good. Okay, should I move ahead?
Why not?
Returns and reports. What types of returns and reports could be there? There is a lot to be communicated in a project. The stakeholders, when we analyze them, they will have certain communication requirements, right? Some stakeholders would like to be kept informed about certain aspects of the project. Not everything. Everyone is not interested in everything happening in the project. But these stakeholders, I have to study them very clearly, very closely, and understand their needs and requirements, especially about what is to be communicated to them. So list down a complete uh, list of information and reports which they need, and I have to ensure that their needs are satisfied. They do get their reports in the format they want, in the frequency they want. So this all originates from the stakeholders. Stakeholders' needs and requirement, especially the communication requirement, they turn into reports which will ultimately be part of our communication management plan. Communication management plan lists down all the communications we have to do, when we have to do, how we have to do it, in what format, how long, what the frequency, all those things. So returns and reports are there. So return and reports will relate to two knowledge areas, stakeholder engagement and communication management. Both of these things are involved for creating the returns and reports. Is it a project or a program or an operation? What is it? A bookshop.
Operation.
It is an operation. Right. How can you conceive it to be a project or a program? Let us first talk about a project. How there could be a project in a bookshop.
Digital library.
Very good.
Digitization.
If you are kind of introducing a new section or a new idea in the bookshop, and this is a very good idea. So a digital library could be created. That could be a project. Now, I would like you to think deeper. Tell me what could be a program in the bookshop.
It might be something more strategic, like trying to, I suppose that's more an education thing, trying to reach a certain number of children. But yeah, I was thinking more in a library, situation. It might be something like trying to get kids into the library.
Think like a
Some sort of
businessman.
education.
Think like a businessman. Your bookshop is doing very well. You have also started some projects like automation and digital library. What should you do as a businessman? You should expand.
Yes.
You should make your branches all over, and that would be a program spreading your bookshop all over the area. In all these schools, you have branches, or maybe on internet, you have access to any student could have access there. So this kind of an initiative is not a project. This is a program. This has far-reaching benefits. The benefit realization go on for years and years. I hope you get what I mean.
Yes. Yep.
Muddassar, are you convinced with it?
Yes. I was just writing.
Wonderful,
yes.
wonderful. Okay, let's come to the portfolio now. What is a portfolio? I've shown you the definition of portfolio. So I want it in your words. What do you think is a portfolio?
When it's come a strategic thing for whole organization. When whole organization achieve a one goal and one strategic outcome, then it's all program projects under this is become a become a portfolio. Like for example, if a company want to acquire some other company or something like that to get some, to work hard and then to get some benefits, like to earn certain amounts, it's also come under a portfolio, like a bigger picture, the whole company, the whole program, and all project under one strategic.
I suppose you are generally correct, but let me give you another dimension to that. Portfolio doesn't have any strategy of its own. It is unlike project. Project has a strategy. Sorry, program has a strategy. Project doesn't have any strategy of its own. It follows the organizational strategy, and it orchestrates the projects and programs existing in the organization and make certain investment decisions as to which project or which program is to be funded and which not to be funded. So this is like life and death decisions for those projects and programs. But as such, portfolio doesn't have their own strategy. They are following the organizational strategy. So like you said, that there could be a portfolio where you could kind of, what did you say? No, you can't create new initiatives of your own, right? You can't do that.
Yeah.
Business cases will be submitted, they will be approved, and they will be sent to the portfolio. Maybe there are 20 or 50 different business cases waiting in the queue, and there are 20 projects and programs currently running. So, portfolio will have a keen eye on what is happening and what is waiting. If he finds that one of the candidate projects is more promising in the waiting list, he would rather like to fund that project and maybe hold an existing project for some time. That way, we can achieve greater benefits by utilizing this portfolio in a more appropriate manner. That is the purpose of the portfolio. Did you get me?
Yes.
Yes. So organization strategy, basically the word.
Yes. Okay. Right. So let us see the definition. Projects are included in the portfolio, all the projects of the organization, all the programs, and there is a third component which is called, maybe the portfolio is too big to handle and we may have to have sub-portfolios under the main portfolio. So this is the third component, and the fourth component is the operations. Like we had program management activities as a third component in program, because program also had a starting point and an ending point, but unfortunately portfolio doesn't have a starting point, doesn't have an ending point, because this is like operations. This goes on and on. New projects keep getting in, new programs keep getting in, old projects and programs keep getting done. So portfolio remains there. So it will never end. So it could not have portfolio activities. Rather, we will call them the operations of the portfolio. So four components in portfolio: projects, programs, sub-portfolios, and operations. And all of these four items are managed as a group to achieve not portfolio strategic objectives. You were wrong in saying that portfolio doesn't have any strategic objectives of its own. These are the organizational strategic objectives which it ensures. Although portfolio does have a lot of power, because we have delegated that part to the portfolio manager, he can kill a project, he can start a project, he can divert the funding or resources from one project to the other. He can make that kind of decision. He is very powerful, but he doesn't have a strategy of his own. And another important thing about the portfolio is he is in charge of investment decision making. No one else can do what portfolio can do, that it decides where the funding is to be diverted. Right? I hope that explains it all.
Sorry, just one question. So the operations in this context,
Well,
is
this
that
is the
similar
operation
to,
of the portfolio. We are not talking
yeah,
about
so it,
the overall operation of the organization.
yeah, so my question was, in this context, is that similar to the work of the program activities
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
program?
exactly.
Cool.
Because you see,
Awesome.
as I said, program manager needed a huge team to help him do his job. Similarly, portfolio manager will have to do a lot of work, and he needs some staff and some operations going on around him. For example, a lot many business cases being evaluated, what is doing what, who is doing well, where the funding is coming, what are the options available with us to maximize the use of the funding, where should we, in which project or program should we invest. This all is a lot of analysis going on, and we need to have many people working under the operation of the portfolio who will help portfolio manager make all those decisions. Okay?
Yes.
Right. This is an example of programs and portfolios. This is up. Okay, as I said, portfolios could have sub-portfolios, right? So here I'm mentioning two sub-portfolios. Portfolio A is zero waste. Portfolio B is reduce energy consumption. In zero waste portfolio, we have two programs running, and each program has got two projects each. In B portfolio, we have one program running with two projects and an independent project. Now, it would be better to understand if I say portfolio A includes all those projects which deal with the zero waste policy, whether they are related or they are not. Portfolio B are those projects which are focused on reducing the energy consumption. Again, they may or may not be related. Now, in the category of reduce energy consumption, we have got one program, including two projects, and an independent project, meaning this independent project is not part of program 3. This is directly answerable to the portfolio, or for that matter, to his project sponsor. But portfolio A doesn't have any independent project, but it has got two programs, and every program has got some projects in it. And if you want to look at the main portfolio, I would say that would be just a moment. Sorry. This could be your main portfolio, right? And these are sub-portfolios. And under the sub-portfolios, we have got programs, and under the program, we have projects. So this is generally what it looks like. Okay. Next topic. What project management challenges will you face? Naturally, you can imagine what can you face. You will get uncertainties. There will be risks. There will be delays. There will be cost escalations. A lot many things. Requirements will change. Customer will change the requirement. and that is going to badly impact your project. What else can you think of? The organization strategy can change, and thus the need for project can eliminate. That could be also a big problem.
Conflict.
Conflicts, negotiations needed, contractor and having conflicts with, conflict is normally within the team and negotiation is with anyone you have a contract or agreement. So the contract with contractors, you will be having, negotiations going on, their contractual problems resolved, and within the team, there might be conflict. Naturally, if you have problems, you will find ways to solve them, and there are always ways to solve them. But we are just talking about the challenges we could have, and there could be so many of them.
Yes.
Okay. Completed projects don't just happen. There is a lot of effort in them. You just don't, go to sleep and when you wake up, the project is complete. It's not like that. You have to be running from pillar to post and ensuring resolving those problems, issues, trying to keep things in order, in sync, on schedule, on cost, and there is a lot of running around involved. You can't be at peace when a project is going on. So completed project actually speaks of a huge effort which has gone into it. If the project is a success, then probably a lot of energy has gone into it. A lot of work has gone into it. It just does not happen. It is not automatic. You actually burnt your midnight oil. Not only you, but all of your staff, your stakeholders. There was a commitment in it. There was midnight oil burning into it. There's a lot of effort into it. So this just does not happen. So as we said, the challenges in project management may be issues, maybe risks, maybe assumptions, and constraints. Let me talk them out one by one. Let me start from the risk. Risk is an uncertainty which could occur. And if it occurs, it could cause some problem for you, cause some damage for you. But the interesting part is, I must highlight it to you, risk is just an uncertainty. This is not good or bad, right? But we are in habit of considering risk as something negative, so we interpret risk as always as negative. But trust me, risks are of two types, the positive risk and the negative risk. The positive risk, we call them opportunities. The negative risk, we call them threats. But anyways, having known that, a risk is something which has a likelihood of occurrence. And if it does occur, it will result in something positive or something negative. If it is positive, it is opportunity. If it is negative, it is threat, right? When a negative risk occurs, risk is a risk until it has occurred. Because until it is uncertain, until it has not occurred, it remains to be called as a risk. As soon as a negative risk occurs, it ceases to be called as a risk, but it becomes what? When a risk has occurred, what does it become?
An issue.
An issue. So remember that. That's a very important lesson. Risk is a risk until it occurs. As soon as it happens, it then becomes issue. And dealing with risk is a different method. Dealing with issue is a different method. Dealing with risk is we create a lot many risk responses. and we implement them. And but this implementation should happen while the risk has yet not occurred. So all the actions on the risk must be taken when the risk was alive. We would reduce the impact of that risk while it was alive. When it is done away, it has caused the damage, it has become an issue, then we will do issue resolution. So these are two separate things, but they are both challenges to us. First, we are always threatened, or we are expectant of something will happen that is due to risk. And when something has happened, it becomes an issue, and still we have to deal with it. Another thing is assumptions, because again, due to uncertainty, we don't know what is happening to us. So when we start, and this is the first time we are dealing with this kind of project, we don't have any experience with it or much experience in it. So I would say all the data to calculate the project, to plan the project is not available with me. I may have a lot of data, but there are missing links. Wherever there is a missing link in my planning, I will take assumptions to the best of my knowledge. Those assumptions may get wrong or they may prove right. Agreed? So assumptions are a pain point. If they are wrong, they may cause a risk to occur. They may cause a damage to the project. They may cause the complete recalculation to happen. So assumptions, I have to watch them. They are also challenges for me. So all the assumptions I have taken during the planning of the project, they should be marked with red flag. And I should keep watching them over as if some assumption gets wrong, and I would take necessary action immediately. Fourth thing is the constraint. As you said, when you started the project, the customer told you that it should be done within this time, right? That is a constraint. It could be a time constraint, it could be a cost constraint, it could be a scope constraint. But whatever kind of constraint it is, this is binding us to amend our plan or tailor our plan, remaining within those limits. We try our level best to remain within those limits, but if that is impossible, we have to take that as a change request to the people who have given us the constraint, that this constraint cannot be followed because of certain reasons, and try to convince them to amend the constraint accordingly, right? Or we will find some other way out. So these four are considered to be major project management challenges. I hope we are okay with that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, one question again, sorry.
Yes.
I've never heard of a positive risk before.
Never heard of that. Okay.
No.
Have you ever won a lottery?
No, sadly.
So if you buy a lottery ticket, what is it? Isn't it a positive risk?
Yeah, I guess so.
So anything which can go right with you and it has a probability of occurrence, that is a positive risk. We are not in habit of identifying opportunities. We ignore them. But trust me, opportunities are more important than the threats, because they can turn the tide for you. They can be a great helping hand for you. If they occur, they will, make your life easy. So rather than only looking at the negativity of the thing, also look at the positivity and try to kind of exploit that opportunity. Right?
Yeah, I've never been in a risk workshop or anything where anyone's ever not talked about the negative with risk. It's fascinating.
Yeah, mostly we talk about negative. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So these were the project challenges. And as far as the risks are concerned, what are they? Naturally, they are the uncertainties. They are uncertain events or conditions that if they occur, has an impact, positive or negative. Positive is opportunity, negative is threat, on one or more project objectives. Now, what are these project objectives? As I lightly mentioned, that everything is tied to scope, time, and cost. Anything which could impact the scope of the project, or the duration of the project, or the cost of the project, that is what is our concern. We call them, these three things, as our project objective. So if there is a risk which is impacting my project objective, either scope or time or cost, I will consider that a risk. If it is not impacting my project objective, I will not treat it as a risk. You understand my point?
Yep.
So by definition, if a positive or a negative risk does impact one of my project objectives, I will list it down as a risk, otherwise not.
But Suhail, brother, like risk, we during our initiating and planning phase, are we identify our risks, because
Yes.
risk is very important, or we have also
Even
during the project management is risk register,
Yes.
risk register as well.
Risk is not just a project management subject. This is a universal subject. This happens in operations. This happens in organization. This happens everywhere. Even in your normal life, you have a lot many risks going on. So when we were doing the business, developing the business case, the business analyst did identify certain broad risks which he or she thought could be there, right? When the project charter was being developed, they were further added, certain risks were further added to it, which the project sponsor could conceive. But the maximum effort in risk management the deliberate effort will go on during the planning of the project. This is where we try to identify as many risks as possible and develop our risk response plans accordingly. So you are right in saying that risk could be from the charter. They will trickling down from the charter, from the business case, or from the organization. Yes, of course, why not? But the level of detail we are dealing is at the project level. We can get our guidance, whatever the risk mentioned by the business analyst, whatever risk mentioned by the project sponsor, we will entertain them, but we will dig deeper into risk when we are in project management. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So how do we deal with these risks? We first assess and evaluate them, how much damaging or severe that is, how much advance notice will we have. Then we prioritize these risks and we plan which risks to address and which not to address. Why? Because all the risks are not big enough. There are a lot many risks which are very small, and we can say, okay, we don't bother about them. These are just like small insects crawling around. We don't bother about it. We just bother about the high priority risks, right? So we decide, we prioritize, and we only take action on those risks which are consequential to us. So we deal with in this manner, we prioritize them, we assess them, and then we develop our risk response plan.
Your voice is breaking now. Amy, can you listen,
Breaking
or it's
down
also
what?
cutting on your side?
It's all good for
Your
me. Is it the rain in Auckland that's doing it?
Okay, I'm just at the end of this lesson. That's why I was not giving any break. We develop a risk register, which includes the complete list of all the risks in the project. Let me see what we have. Then we have the concept of issues, right? As I said, when the risk occurs, it becomes an issue, right? So what are they? You understand what they are. They are things which have happened and now we have to deal with them. How to deal with them? We write them down, we list them down, all the issues into a document called issue log. Like the risks were listed down in risk register. Issues are listed down in a separate document which is called issue log. And then we deal with them one by one. Issue log captures information about a question or discovery, who first raised it, who will research it, what impact it might have. So they have got their own mechanism of dealing with the issues. So issue log will contain all that data, which will help us resolve that issue. Assumptions, what are they? They are the replacement of the facts. Facts about a project are its requirement that define special conditions around which the project must be planned and executed. Rather, I would say these are the missing facts, the things we don't know. So we try to plug in our approximation in that and we start our calculations from that point on based on an assumption. But these assumptions could be dangerous because if we took a wrong assumption, our whole plan will be affected by that. So how do we deal with that? Assumptions create a set of operating conditions for the project that needs to be built into planning, budgeting, execution, and all those steps because there's a ripple effect. Whatever the assumption has been taken, that is traveling through the plan, through the budget and everything.
Sorry, can I just ask, so are assumptions actually written down?
Which one?
Assumptions.
No.
Like are assumptions something more ethereal,
yes,
or
you
is it
could
actually
list down the assumptions as well. Yes, of
you
course.
could write them down.
You can write them down. You can create a list of assumptions, and they will be red flag. They will be red flag because they could be candidate risks in future.
Yeah.
Then we have got these constraints, and as you understand, constraints are given by to us by the customer or whomsoever is given, who is the internal or external customer. They give us the constraint, and we consider them constraints only if they are affecting one of our project objectives: scope, time, and cost. You remember that? Scope, time, and cost are my three project objectives. Constraint is applied to that. If there is a constraint to quality, constraint to procurement, that is no constraint for us. Our constraint to quality or a constraint to procurement will be bothering us if it is affecting the time, our cost, our scope. That is exactly why I'm saying if in any way that constraint is affecting our time, scope, or cost, we will consider it as constraint. For example, they told you that this project should be completed in 1 year. They put a constraint on it. We are bothered if the project cannot be done in 1 year and we have been forced to do it in 1 year. That is our botheration. That is our constraint. Similarly, cost. They have given us a limit which is less than what the project needs to complete the work. That is a constraint. They have given us a scope which is kind of increasing or decreasing all the time, right? So these things can be my constraint. So generally, how do we deal with them? Constraints may shift and change. They can change. As I said, that they told you to do it in 1 year. You convince them after your planning that in this time, there is no possibility the project can be done. And they agree, they change the constraint. They say, okay, you have 1.5 years. So this is possible. Constraint may be shifted, this may be changed. So a project manager must balance competing constraints throughout a project. And with this, we come to the end of our this section. The impact of the risk. This is a little question for you. Risk have the potential to create both uncertain, negative, and positive events are conditions on a project. True or false?
True.
We now know it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Now you know.
Yeah.
Before we said it's not true, but now you said it's true.
Yeah. I'm winning the
Positive
lottery in
risks.
my mind.
So that is correct. Risk has the potential to create uncertain, negative, positive conditions on the project.
What is the best, like you gave example of lottery, but what is the best positive risk in a normal project activity? Because you are a project manager over last 20, 30 years, and also any
Well,
project you find, oh,
there
it's
could be a
positive.
lot many things, but I normally give an example of a negative risk and a positive risk. Like, the road which is leading to your office will be clogged due to traffic for a certain reason in the morning. You know that. There is a risk that there will be high traffic on that route. So what can you do? You should avoid it. You should
Change the
adopt a
route.
longer path, and maybe you bypass that problem. You may have to pay extra for taking a longer path. Maybe the gas cost is more, maybe it is double the journey, but you will avoid the negative risk. Let us talk about a positive risk. For example, on a normal route to your office, it's a normal journey, but the alternate route has got a sale and things are being sold out at 1/4 the price. It is double the journey. Why should not you exploit it? Why should not you change your path to the office and spend a little time there and get that opportunity encashed?
So it's mean that negative risks are risks something happen, but so what you explain is that positive risks you always create opportunity by yourself, and it's come also sudden
No,
as
no,
well.
no. Positive risks are you did not create the positive risk. The sale, you did not make the sale. The sale was there on that path and you want to exploit it. That's why you change your path. That is your strategy. You did not go on your normal path, but you spend extra fuel to move on a longer path just to exploit that opportunity. Opportunity was not created by you. Opportunity was created by that shop. You understand?
No, I understand. I basically try to understand that one. So it's mean that, but it was in back in your mind that okay, there is also sale is there. So it's mean that positive risk can happen anytime, right?
Yeah, and you have to actually recognize it. You have to identify all the possibilities of positive and negative risk, all the uncertainties you must capture and then strategize how to take advantage of opportunities and how to deal with the negative risks. That is your planning. That is called risk management planning. So, what did we study here? We talked about the project management, the difference between projects and operations. We talked about the project program. We talked about the portfolio. We talked about the 5 process groups. We talked about the project management challenges. A lot many things we talked about, but this is the end of this lesson. Now is the time that we can move on to the next lesson after a break, naturally. Because I have taken a lot of your time, this time I'll give you a break for 15 minutes. Will that be fine?
Sounds good.
Yes. When we end this session today,
It's a 4-hour session.
It'll be 6 o'clock, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, can we finish early today? A bit.
Do you want me to finish early? Okay, no problem. When do you want me to finish?
Like at 5-ish, because it's very hard for me to sit. I am so pain.
We can do that. Just for today, I think. Or you want it up on
Yes,
the future?
only for today because I'm.
Okay. we will close
so
down
much.
at 5, right? So let
If
us
ME is
have,
fine, if ME is okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
let
yeah,
us
no,
have,
that's fine. Yeah, yeah.
okay. So let's have a break and then we'll get back again.
Okay, lovely. See you in 15.
Okay, next chapter is about organizing the project performance, that is setting your team up for success. What all we are going to be covering here, we'll talk about the performance domains, we'll talk about stakeholders, we'll talk about the project manager's role, the concept of emotional intelligence and people skills, project organizational structures, and team performance domains. Now, you see, I'm starting this new chapter, but naturally we are not having enough time. So whatever we can cover in these next 20 minutes, we'll try to cover that and proceed ahead. And then in the next class, we will start where we left. But I hope I remember that in the next class where I left. So we'll note down the number of the slide, and based on that, we will start next week. Okay.
Sounds good.
Do I already know that these concepts, like these things? Anything which looks strange to you?
Maybe for me, just the use of the word domain. It's probably not a word, a terminology that I would use, domain, in work usually.
Okay. Actually, I would say two things you might not have heard before are the two performance domains, the project performance domain and the team performance domain. The rest, everything we usually come across, we know what are the stakeholders, we know the role and things like that. But the third difficult thing is maybe you have never heard about the project organizational structure. So naturally, we will have a little discussion on each one of these topics, and probably we will be clear about everything. Okay, question for you is, anyone who is either positively or negatively affected by the potential outcomes of the project is considered a sponsor, stakeholder, customer, or product owner? What do you
Outcome of
say?
project in anyone who is either positively or negatively affected by the potential outcome of the project is considered as a sponsor.
Think again.
Or product owner.
I think I'd vote for, because you said
Product.
that you said before that customer was like kind of the person telling you was almost like the sponsor, the customer, whoever's giving you the work. So my vote is number 2, stakeholder.
Stakeholder, because you see, sponsor is also a stakeholder. Customer is also a stakeholder. Everybody is a stakeholder. If you say sponsor, I don't say you are wrong, but actually the correct answer would be the stakeholder. Got it?
Okay. So what is difference? Why not one Amy explain? Why not product?
You see, product owner is also a stakeholder. The definition of stakeholder is anyone and everyone who has anything to do with the project. The product owner has something to do with the project. Customer has something to do with the project. Team has something to do with the project. Sponsor has everyone has something to do with the project, which are somehow related to the project in one way or the other. Whether they can affect the project or they can be affected by the project. They all are the stakeholders. The broader definition is stakeholder. Now, sponsor, product owner, all of them are stakeholder. I agree with you. I don't have any difference of opinion on that. But that one single term which represents all of them is stakeholder.
Agree. Got it. Clear.
Next question. Which of these issues standard document templates, oversees project management, and reviews project documentation to be sure that project follows the standard for your organization? You have.
I would guess, I'm going to guess number 2 again, Quality Assurance Board.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but overseas project management. No, that's no.
Read the question again.
Yeah. Which of these issues standard documentation
Which of
templates?
these issues standard document plate?
Well,
Who
then
issues? Who creates and issues? Is it the testing unit? Is it a
So
Project
quality
Management
assurance
Office.
Yeah.
project, yeah. Number 4.
Project
Number
Management
4.
Office.
Yes, you're right. You see, Quality Assurance Board has only to do with processes. It has
Yep.
nothing to do
Yeah.
with many other things. It is not responsible for creating templates for everything. So the one which can do that is the project management office, but naturally that is an optional kind of a thing. Some organizations do have a PMO, some they do not have a PMO. But anyways,
Okay.
if the PMO is there, that would be their responsibility to create the templates, oversee the project management, review the project documentation, and so on. So the correct answer is project management office. Third question. Which of these project performance domains deal with the activities and functions associated with certainty about the scope and quality that a project is undertaken to achieve? Now, the project performance domains listed here, there are around 12. The listed here are planning, project work, delivery, and measurement.
I'm going to guess measurement. Number 4.
Measurement.
Delivery.
Okay. What do you say?
Delivery.
Delivery. Let us see what is right.
Dun, dun, dun. You're right. Well done.
So read the question again. Which of these performance domains deal with the activities and functions associated with certainty about the scope and quality that a project is undertaken to achieve? So when we are talking about scope and quality, scope is about the deliverable, right? And quality is associated with the scope. If the quality is right, the product will be verified. If the user acceptance is done, that means that the product is ready to deliver. So after these two processes, passing through the quality control and scope validation, delivery items are ready for delivery. So how was the performance?
Yeah, I don't think I did very well. No gold star for me.
Okay, so let's talk about the stakeholders. Who are your key stakeholders? So I have my own definition, as I said. Anyone and everyone who has anything to do with the project. The simplest definition I have formulated for myself. But if you want to look at the detailed definition, it says that anyone and anyone who thinks, who has, who can affect the affect the project in any way, or who can be affected by the project in any way, positively or negatively. And third category are of those people who think they can affect or be affected by. Why this third category is being entertained in the definition? We agree anyone who is affected by the consequence of project definitely is a stakeholder. Anyone who can affect the decisions about the project manager, definitely they are the stakeholder. But why a person who is, we don't think that person is a stakeholder, but one person claims that add me in the list of stakeholders, right? So should we or should we not? If anyone claims to be a stakeholder, should we add him to the stakeholder list?
I think no.
No. And what are your reasons for that?
Because if you can't actually create the link between the project and them. It's in their head.
What if this person causes so much trouble for you that you can't move the project ahead? If this was identified and included in the list of stakeholders, you could have talked to him, you could have convinced him, but now you have refused to add him to the stakeholder list, and this person is causing all the trouble around and not letting you do anything in your project. Don't ignore the people who claim to be the stakeholders. They can be a great nuisance. So there is no problem. Add him to the stakeholder list. When he'll go and see how the things are happening, and if he has no interest, he would run away. But if this person has an iota of interest, you have no right to exclude this person from the stakeholder list. I hope you understand my point.
Yeah. So you'd include them, but maybe they just don't. Because I guess I'm thinking of someone who shouldn't be privy to the information or the workings of a project.
Okay, who could
so
that
you
be?
just include them, but you just wouldn't tell them very much.
No. But who could that be? Let us say negative sponsor. Negative stakeholder. So the negative stakeholders could be your competitors, could be your competition. You don't want to share some private information with them, but trust me, they are your stakeholders.
That's a shame.
You have to deal with them. You can't ignore them. Yes, I agree with you that you deal with every stakeholder in a different way. Your strategy to deal with each stakeholder might be different. You might be, not sharing some privacy information with your negative stakeholders. I agree with you. I have no problem with that. But not including someone in the list of stakeholders is not a good direction. Right.
Sounds good.
Think about it. These stakeholders are important, and you have to respect the desire of anyone and everyone. I said that. Anyone and everyone who has anything to do with the project, whether they think they are interested, they are impacted, they are impacted by anyone and everyone is a stakeholder. And later on, we will analyze these stakeholders and see who is a bigger stakeholder, who's a smaller stakeholder. Maybe the smaller stakeholders, we are not going to interact much with them. But those who are the key stakeholders, we may be dealing with them on a daily basis. But do not ignore anyone. Okay. Clients can be the very broad categories. Otherwise, it could be a list miles long. Clients could be the stakeholder, designers could be the stakeholder, contractors could be the stakeholder, government itself could be the stakeholder. You yourself are the stakeholder. That means you, your team, your organization, your various departments, but they should have some interest. You can't say everyone in my organization is a stakeholder. That might not be true. All of them may not have any interest in the project. Now, one very interesting thing is that you think a person is a stakeholder, but that person is not interested in being a stakeholder. What should you do? He says,
Try and
don't
win
call
them
me.
over.
Yeah.
Try and win them over.
Yes, actually, the condition for being a stakeholder is the willingness. If that person is not willing to participate as a stakeholder, you can't add him. You can't add him. Right? I hope you understand that. So these are just representative categories. These are not actually the list of stakeholders. List of stakeholders could be very long. They could be external. They could be internal. They could be those who are impacting the project, those who are impacted by the project, those who are thinking they are the stakeholders, or they could be with small impact stakeholders huge impact stakeholders. They could be negative stakeholders. They could be positive stakeholders. Please do not ignore anyone. So when you are creating a list, create a very comprehensive list of all these stakeholders. So this is a diagram which shows various categories of stakeholders. It is like an onion. As you peel it, you find another layer of stakeholders. You further peel it, another layer of stakeholders. So, for example, at the top, we have got suppliers, contractors, customers, end users, regulatory bodies. These are those stakeholders who are outside of the organization and outside of the project. They are completely outside. Then we have got government bodies, PMO, steering committee. These are the people who have more intimate relationship with our organization, but not the project. And then we have got the core people. This is the project manager, his team, and all those people who are directly involved with the working of the project. These are the stakeholders which are within the project and within the organization. So this is one way of representing the types of stakeholders, but this is not a all-encompassing kind of a diagram. Okay, I suppose we are already done with the time. So remember slide number 12, project manager role. Next week, we will start from this point on. Will that be all right with you?
Yes, for sure.
Go and rest, Mohammed. Go and rest. Get better.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Get well soon.
Suhail.
Yeah.
Thanks,
We'll
Suhail,
see you in
brother.
a week.
Thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.